Hey girl, welcome back to my channel. If you're interested in seeing how I achieved this soft makeup look, stay tuned. Let's get into it. So to start, I just used a little bit of witch hazel on my face. I've already washed my face this morning, but I used a little bit of witch hazel as a toner, and then I used this, I don't know if you guys can see this, COSRX moisturizer. Y'all, I can't tell if this is focusing, but it's the COSRX Advanced Snail All-in-One Cream. I use that because my normal moisturizer has SPF, and I don't use a moisturizer with SPF when I'm doing my makeup. This, I'm going in next with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. I have used both. I just use the e.l.f. Power Grip because it's a little bit easier to find, because I can get it at Target instead of having to go to Sephora. And I'm just gonna put that all over the areas where my face is typically a little bit oily, and of course I'm gonna put it underneath my eyes and on my cheeks because I'm using concealer and blush today. And then I kind of rub it in, and once it gets tacky, I pat it in. I also have a handheld mirror over here, so I will be looking at that while I'm doing this so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Next I am going in with this NYX brow glue. I'm just gonna use this to brush my brows upward because I have, I would say, like a good amount of brow hairs. I don't do a whole lot of filling in, but I do like to make sure my brows are brushed in the correct direction so that when I go to fill them in after I've done my face, it's just a little bit easier, and I'm not putting this product on top of whatever foundation or concealer I have on my face already. So yeah, I recently started doing this routine because I wanted to incorporate blush into my makeup routine, and I'm so excited to share this with you guys and just kind of chat a little bit, you know, like a girl chat and makeup. Okay, so we have primed our face, we have done our brows, at least what we're gonna do for now, and then now I am going to go in with this e.l.f. Camo blush. This is in the shade Coming In Hot. I prefer this to be in a bright pink, and you will see why once I put it on. I do not put a whole lot of this on because it is a little pigmented, and I like blush, but I don't want it to look like everything is pink. So I'm just focusing it in this area, and I'm just doing probably 2 or 3 little dots. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Oof, I got a little bit more over there. And then I'm going to blend that in. I am using this e.l.f. blending brush to blend it in. Clearly I've used this, but I am going to use this to blend in my blush. And again, I'm not a makeup artist. This may not be perfect. I'm just sharing my makeup routine with you guys, and yeah. So I'm gonna blend it into my cheekbones and closer to my temple area. This is not really, like, you can see that it's somewhat pigmented, but it's not so much blush. I'm also gonna go back in with a powder blush once I actually add my powder and concealer products to my face. So I try not to overdo this part, because if you do, I feel like it just looks too much. Like, it looks like, I don't know guys, it looks a little bit like a rouge, like an old lady, like a clown. But again, whatever floats your boat. If you like a lot of blush, go for it. But I'm also gonna go over some of this with concealer, so it'll all kind of balance itself out. Sorry, you guys can see my mirror over there. So I actually got this routine from Beauty Dope. I'll tag her YouTube handle below. But she is a makeup artist in my area. I have not had the pleasure of sitting with her yet, but I would love to. And I love the fact that she just kind of broke this tutorial down where somebody who is not a professional can do their makeup. Next, I'm going in with concealer. I'm not even telling you guys what product this is. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade... Y'all, I had this a long time and I'm not wearing my glasses. Y'all, I don't know. Once I find it, I'll put it in the description box, but I use the Hydrating Camo Concealer. I made the mistake of getting the matte concealer. You guys, with that matte concealer, you have to work quickly because it dries down fast and I was not prepared. But I do like this to say that it's like a drugstore concealer. I really like it. So I'm gonna go in underneath my eyes. Again, I'm not a professional, guys. I'm just sharing my routine with y'all. Don't critique me too hard. I put a little bit above my cupid's bow, some here on my chin, and then here. I don't typically highlight my forehead. If I do, I do a very small triangle. I feel like I don't have the largest forehead, and because my hair comes like forward a little bit on my forehead, I don't see the need to do all of the, I guess, like putting so much highlighter or contour on my forehead. Because I also don't really put foundation on my forehead either. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with my Expert concealer brush. This is from Real Techniques. Again, y'all, have used these brushes, but I'm going to go in and blend that out. I start with the edges and then I blend in everything else after that. So I start with the edges just to make sure that I'm not moving the product around too much. I feel like with concealer, sorry, you guys probably cannot see me. I feel like with concealer, I like to build because I don't want to have too much concealer or harsh lines. I feel like that was one of the hardest things for me when I first started doing makeup, especially somebody who is of darker hue, just making sure that everything was blended and didn't have harsh lines. One thing I also picked up from the tutorial that I watched on this, you know, to kind of make my own routine out of it, is not putting so much underneath your eyes. So I have a tendency to have creasing under my eyes when it comes to concealer. Y'all hear Chase? I have a tendency to crease under my eyes with concealer, but I feel like this has really helped. So not putting so much product directly underneath the eye and just kind of blending it up has really helped me to avoid creasing. So you can see that like the pink from the blush is still there, but obviously the concealer, sorry guys, my mirror. The concealer is still covering it a little bit. And then I'm just going into that inner corner because y'all, this inner corner literally gets me every time when it comes to blending. And I'm just doing like a little tapping motion, like a patting motion. Okay, cool. And then I will go in with my foundation after this. And I typically only put foundation in the areas where I did not put concealer, only because I don't like my makeup to look cakey. I want it to be natural. I don't want to have so much makeup on. So I don't really layer my products too much. So like if you see the areas where I put concealer, I didn't put foundation first and then go in with concealer. I don't typically do my makeup that way. Even before I started adding blush into my routine, I did not do my makeup that way because I like it to look, you know, I want my face to have a good base, but I don't want it to look cakey. I don't want it to be like, oh, girl, you just put the whole bottle of concealer on your face. I want it to look natural and I want it to look like skin, because I do take a lot of pride in my skincare routine. So I want my makeup to look like skin. I don't want it to look like, you know, I'm wearing a face full of makeup, I guess. Makeup is going to look like makeup, but I don't want it to look overly dramatic, I guess. And again, I'm gonna go back out and blend some of this a little bit more, but I'm trying to move this product before it starts to dry on me. Why is it, ladies, when we are putting on makeup, that we always have our mouth open when we're doing this part, like concealer or any eye stuff? It's like it's a natural reflex. I don't know. Okay, so concealer under the eyes is blended. I may add a little bit more here in this area, but I'm gonna go ahead and blend out my nose contour. Again, this may not be perfect, but it is what works for me. And on my forehead, I don't really use a lot of foundation, so I'm just gonna kind of blend this to the best of my ability, and we will go back over this with my brush that I use for my foundation. And of course, with our chin contour, we're gonna tap this in. I do use a little bit more powder on my chin because I'm oily in my T-zone. So when I set this, I use a little bit more down here because right under this lip, right where my chin is, it will get a little oily. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more concealer to the inner corner, just like a little dab. And that's it. And I'm gonna blend that out. Oh, sorry y'all, my handheld mirror. I'm just trying to make sure I can see what I'm showing you guys so that I don't look crazy on this camera. All right, so before I blend that out, I'm gonna go in with my foundation stick. This is in the shade number 10. This is the Bobbi Brown foundation stick. I have been using this for years. I have tried NARS and sometimes I will use it, but this is like my trusty foundation stick. So I use the Bobbi Brown Skin foundation stick, and I like this one because it is a little bit more of a buildable coverage, so it's not as full coverage. I'm going in with the Instapop face brush from Real Techniques to go ahead and just kind of tap that into my skin. I'm also going to use this to kind of blend out some of the edges here of my, oh my gosh, you guys can't see, what in the world? I'm gonna blend out some of the edges here on my chin area where I did put that concealer, so it looks a little bit more natural. And then I'm gonna try to blend some of that up into my concealer, but not into my blush. And this is because I don't typically bronze. I don't know, guys, as a woman of darker hue, sometimes it's hard to find a bronzer that doesn't look like too red. So it's hard to sometimes find a bronzer that isn't too red and doesn't look right, or like is in, you know, it's like it's in conflict with my foundation shade that I use. So let me see if I need to go back in and blend this a little bit more, because I think I do. Just blending the inner corner a little bit more, and then we're gonna go ahead and use our setting powder. So this is the One Size setting powder in the shade Ultra Pink. I only use this under my eyes and every other place. I use the shade Deep Dark. All right, so I'm just putting this on my powder puff. I don't know if you guys can see this because of the light. Putting this on my powder puff, I usually put it into the lid and then I pat it on the back of my hand to make sure that the powder is smooth. And then I am gonna go in and place this under my eye. Sorry guys, I know y'all keep seeing this handheld mirror. And I also get the side of my nose, the bridge of my nose. So really this area is the only place that gets the pink powder. I set the rest of my face with the deep powder. Obviously, because I don't want the rest of my face to have a pink hue. But I feel like this pink powder, honestly, I was a little scared at first because, again, being somebody of darker hue, I was like, dang, it's gonna look ashy. It's gonna look a little too light. Like I was thinking, you know, when people were using banana powder, and it was just a little too light for me. But yeah, no, this is perfect. Like this pink powder is great. It's a really fine powder, so I feel like it just settles on the face a whole lot better than some of the other powders that I've used. Honestly, y'all, I don't think I will buy anything else. This one size powder is it. Okay? Patrick was on to something when he made this. Now, the one thing I do not have is the one size setting spray. I need to get it. You guys, if you've tried it, please let me know what you think about it in the comments. Should I convert to 1 star? And again, I know you're probably like, dang, how much powder are you putting on? I'm going to a wedding a little bit later today, so I'm trying to make sure that I properly powder my face because my face can be a bit oily, and knowing that I am doing this a few hours in advance, I want to make sure that it sets well. Okay, so we have used our pink one size powder. Now I'm going to go on with my deep powder, deep dark, and this is just to set the remainder of my face. I'm still going to use the same powder puff. That's why I go with the pink first, and I'm going to do the same process, put it on the puff, and then tap it onto the back of my hand to make sure that the powder doesn't have any clumps. Y'all, do the same thing up here. And then I am going to do a little line here. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Just to kind of give a little, because I don't contour, just to give a little bit of dimension to the face. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna press that powder in with my Real Techniques Expert face brush. So I'm just gonna press that powder in, and I'm also gonna use this same brush to bronze. I don't like to leave this on too long because I don't want it to leave like a harsh line. So, all right, cool. So we are done with our deep dark powder from one side. Just gonna put the lid back onto that. And then next we're gonna go in with our Fenty bronzer in the shade Thick Mint. And this I'm just gonna use all over my face to bronze and kind of bring some color back in after all the powder. So everywhere that I put powder, I'm also gonna put bronzer. And yeah, this is just what works for me. All right, cool. And then I'm gonna go back in with my foundation brush a little bit just to make sure I don't have any harsh lines with my concealer. Do I? I don't think I do. Okay. All right, so now that I've done that, my memory card is running out of space, y'all. I gotta hurry. Now that I've done that, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a shadow. I don't typically do shadow, but today I'm just gonna do a little bit. This is the Juvia's Place Nubian palette, and I am going in with this shade here. This is my favorite shade in the palette, and I'm just gonna add this all over my eyelid. So nothing, sorry guys, you can still see my, again, I'm no makeup artist. I don't know if this is like a technique, but this is what works for you, girl. What did DeMonte say? Every woman needs to know how to do a little something, a little razzle dazzle, okay? This is it. This is my little razzle dazzle. Doing the same thing on my left eye over here and just kind of patting that shadow in and then working it all over my eyelid. To me, it feels weird to like wear a full face of makeup and not have any eyeshadow on. Okay, I'm gonna do my brows off camera and then I will come back and show you my blush and my finishing touches. I'll be back. Okay guys, I have done my brows and my lip off camera, and now I am about to do my blush. This is the Juvia's blush palette in volume 4, and I'm just gonna go in and put this where I put my blush before I started on my face. Sorry guys, I know y'all can keep seeing this. This blush is very pigmented, so a little goes a long way. All right, So that is my last step. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe setting spray. And then I just usually take my powder puff and press it all over my face, just to kind of press that product in. And that is it. All right, girls, so that is the end of the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of these makeup looks from me, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm just so glad I could share this with you guys today. See you in my next video. Bye, girl.